I never thought I'd have a story wild enough to share like this, but here I am, still shaking my head at the chaos that unfolded. My name's Ethan Carter, a laid-back freelance graphic designer who just want a quiet life. But sometimes, quiet is the last thing you get when you move into a place like Willow Creek, a gated community with perfect lawns, steep HOA fees, and one woman who turned my world upside down. Her name was Margaret Hensley, though everyone whispered Karen when she wasn't around. Let me tell you how this HOA president went from nosy neighbor to handcuffed criminal, all because she couldn't keep her hands off my Amazon packages. It all started on a sunny Thursday afternoon. I got a notification that my latest delivery had arrived, some fancy markers and sketch pads for a client project, nothing thrilling. I stepped out my front door, expecting to grab the box and get back to work. Instead, my stomach dropped. There was Margaret standing on my porch, arms crossed, her platinum blonde bob as stiff as her attitude. My Amazon box wasn't just sitting there, it was ripped open, content strewn across my welcome mat like a crime scene. "What the hell are you doing?" I blurted, my voice sharper than I meant. She didn't even flinch. "This is my saw package," I said, pointing at the label with my name in bold. Margaret just tilted her head, her lips pursed like I was the one in the wrong. "I thought it might be a bomb," she said, cool as a cucumber. "You should be thanking me, Ethan." "A bomb? In an Amazon box with my name on it?" I was dumbfounded. "You never know these days," she added with a shrug, not lifting a finger to help as I scrambled to pick up my scattered supplies. "You get saw too many packages. It's suspicious." I had to bite my tongue to keep from losing it. "It's not suspicious, Margaret. I work from home. You I'm a graphic designer." She just sniffed, turned on her wedge heels, and strutted back to her house 3 doors down, Leah VYing me fuming on my porch. Some of my markers were bent, a sketch pad torn. I was pissed, but this was just the beginning. Let me back up a bit. 6 months ago, I moved into Willow Creek, thinking it'd be the perfect spot for a guy like me who needs peace to focus. The place had it all: a pool, a gym, security gates. But I didn't account for Margaret Hensley, the HOA president who ran this place like her personal kingdom. From day one, she had it out for me. My trash can lingered curbside, 10 minutes, too long citation. My garden hose was the wrong shade of green warning. I planted daisies without her precious approval form lecture. But what really got under her skin was my work-from-home life, especially the packages. "People who get that many deliveries are hiding something," she'd said at a neighborhood barbecue, loud enough for everyone to hear. Ever since 9/11, I've been gallant about threats. I tried explaining that I ordered art supplies, groceries, the usual stuff, but Margaret wasn't here for logic. In her mind, I was trouble. That torn open box wasn't a one-off. Over the next few weeks, I noticed more deliveries looking off, boxes half opened, items shifted around. At first, I blamed rough delivery drivers or maybe a thief who bailed when they saw my boring supplies. But then I started watching closer. Margaret walked her yappy little chihuahua past my house 3 times a day, even though she lived blocks away. Her strolls always seemed to line up with delivery trucks rolling in. One day, I caught her from my office window, snapping photos of a package on my porch. My blood boiled. Things hit a new low one Tuesday when I got home from a rare client meeting. There was Margaret, bold as brass, holding one of my packages, squinting at the label like it was EVY Denke in a murder case. She jumped when I pulled into the driveway. "What are you doing with my mail?" I asked, slamming my car door. She didn't even blush. "Just checking," she said. "We've had package thefts around here. I'm doing my job as HOA president." I couldn't help the sarcasm. "By stealing my stuff?" Her eyes narrowed. "Don't be absurd. I have post 9/11 instincts, Ethan. Your delivery patterns are saw. I laughed in disbelief. "Margaret, order pens and pizza. I'm not exactly Al-Qaeda." She snapped. "It saw Mrs. Hensley saw to you," and tossed the box back on my step before storming off. That was it. I was done. This woman wasn't going to stop unless I made her. That night, I ordered a small motion-detecting security camera. By the weekend, it was up, tucked discreetly above my front door, capturing every inch of my porch. I kept my routine ordering supplies, checking footage daily, and waited. 3 days later, My phone pinged during a Zoom call. I stuck a peek at the live feed and nearly choked. There was Margaret marching up my porch like she owned it. She glanced around, then pulled a saw box cutter saw from her pocket. My jaw dropped as she sliced into a package delivered just 30 minutes earlier due, Law 120 set of professional markers. She dug through them, inspecting each one before tossing them back into the mangled box. Satisfied, she left the mess and sauntered off, smirking like she'd saved the day. I ended my meeting early, hands shaking as I rewatched the footage. It was crystal clear, caught from multiple angles. This wasn't just nosy, this was Saw Criminal Saw. I downloaded the video, backed it up 3 times, and called the cops. The dispatcher listened intently, especially when I mentioned video, EVY Denke. Within an hour, 2 officers were at my door. They watched the footage, their faces grim. "This is textbook male tampering," the female officer said, shaking her head. "Federal offense. And using a blade? That's serious." They asked if I wanted to press charges. I didn't hesitate. Absolutely. I dealt with enough bullies to know people like Margaret only stop when they face real consequences. The officers headed to Margaret's house while I waited on my porch, heart pounding. Her voice echoed through the neighborhood, getting louder and shriller by the second. Neighbors peeked out windows, some stepping onto their lawns to gawk. Margaret was VYing her arms, face red, as the officers showed her my footage on a tablet. Her tone shifted from smug to panicked. "You get saw too many packages, Saw. It's suspicious. I was preventing an incident." The officers weren't buying it. One pulled out handcuffs, and Margaret's scream hit a pitch that could have shattered glass. "This is outrageous. I'm the HOA president. I'm a Saw patriot, Saw. But patriotism doesn't excuse breaking the law." As they led her to the patrol car, handcuffs glinting, Willow Creek watched its tyrant fall. People who'd cowered under her petty rules stared in shock. One officer came back to update me. Margaret was facing federal charges for mail tampering up to 5 years in prison and due lot $250,000 in fines plus theft and unlawful surveillance for her porch photos. With the blade in her pattern of Biha VY, or, he said, the prosecutor's going to push hard. Margaret got out on bail the next day, but her empire was crumbling. By evening, the HOA called an emergency meeting and suspended her. 2 weeks later, she was officially booted from a board. Her real estate business tanked as clients learned their agent was a federal felon in waiting. Rumor had it she'd already burned through due law $15,000 in legal fees with no trial date in sight. I wasn't done either. I sued her for my damaged supplies and the stress of her harassment. The day she got served, I was across the street. Our eyes met, and for once, she looked scared. She opened her mouth, then thought better of it, slamming her door so hard the windows rattled. Willow Creek hasn't been the same since. The air feels lighter, like we can all breathe again. But I can't stop thinking about how far this went all, because one woman decided I was suspicious. So what do you think? Was Margaret just an overzealous neighbor trying to protect the community, or a power-hungry control freak who got what she deserved? Should I have confronted her sooner, or was the camera the only way to stop her? And here's the big one. Would you press charges against someone like her, or let it slide to keep the peace? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're shocked as I am, and subscribe for more crazy stories. I promise you won't believe what happens next around here.